The Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act is a bill in the United States Congress that would change U.S. policy on Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region with the goal of ensuring that American entities are not funding forced labor among ethnic minorities in the region. On September 22, 2020, the bill passed the House by 406-3 vote. The 3 no votes were cast by Justin Amash, Warren Davidson and Thomas Massey. Between 2014 and 2018, the cotton industry in Xinjiang saw a massive increase in output and employment. 46 according to an August 2019 book by Ha Liaqiao, Vice President of Citizen Power Initiatives for China. Forced labor is so commonplace in Xinjiang that it is difficult to separate the forced labor economy from the regular economy. Ha estimates that there are 500,000 to 800,000 people held in the more than 70 prisons in Xinjiang and that these prisoners are used for forced labor in numerous industries. Ha further suspects that the million Uyghurs in the Xinjiang re-education camps are likely also used for forced labor in a similar manner. 5 Ha says that because Xinjiang supplies nearly 84% of China's cotton, any cotton, textile or garment products from China are likely tainted with forced labor. 46 Han study concludes that products of this forced labor system have entered into international commerce, including the US and Europe, and that governments, companies and consumers should assume that any cotton products sourced from China are the product of forced labor in Xinjiang. 5. The report recommended banning certain imports from Xinjiang to the United States. 58 In September 2019, Nuri Turkal, an Uyghur-American lawyer and human rights advocate, testified to Congress that Uyghurs were being swept into a vast system of forced labor. Turkal said persons in the Xinjiang re-education camps are often moved to factories and recommended bans on cotton and textile products from Xinjiang until internment policies are abolished and conditions for due diligence are established. In November 2019, Nathan Russer, researcher at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, said you can't be sure that you don't have coerced labor in your supply chain if you do cotton business in China. Xinjiang labor and what is almost certainly coerced labor is very deeply entrenched into the supply chain that exists in Xinjiang. According to an August 2020 piece in the New York Times, it was estimated that roughly 1 in 5 cotton garments sold globally contains cotton or yarn from Xinjiang. It also reported that investigations by NEAT, Wall Street Journal, and Axios found evidence connecting the detention of Uyghurs to supply chains of major fashion retailers. On September 17, 2020, China's State Council Information Office rejected claims of forced labor in Xinjiang, saying that ideologically biased international forces have applied double standards to Xinjiang and denied recognition of local efforts to protect human rights. On October 21, 2020, the Subcommittee on International Human Rights of the Canadian House of Commons Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and International Development called on the Canadian government to condemn Beijing's policies against the Uyghurs, which the subcommittee said included forced labor. Since 1930, all goods made with forced labor have been banned in the United States under the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. Under current rules, goods are banned if there is reasonable evidence of forced labor in the creation of the goods. On September 14, 2020, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security blocked imports of products from 4 entities in Xinjiang. All products made with labor from the Lop County No. 4 Vocational Skills Education and Training Center. Here products made in the Lop County Higher Product Industrial Park. Apparel produced by Yili Juawan Garment Manufacturing Co. Ltd. and Boding Lyszd Trade and Business Co. Ltd. and cotton produced and processed by Xinjiang Jungar Cotton and Linen Co. Ltd. On December 2, 2020, citing forced labor concerns, the U.S. Customs and Border Protections. On September 22, 2020, the bill passed the House by a 406-3 vote, with Republicans Thomas Massey, Warren Davidson and Libertarian Justin Amash voting against. An updated version was reintroduced on February 18, 2021. The Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act would make it U.S. policy to assume that all goods manufactured in Xinjiang are made with forced labor, unless the Commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection certifies that certain goods are known to not have been made with forced labor. The bill also calls for the President of the United States to impose sanctions on any foreign person who knowingly engages in forced labor using minority Muslims. The bill would further require firms to disclose their dealings with Xinjiang. A list of Chinese companies that have relied on forced labor would be compiled. United States Commission on International Religious Freedom Commissioners Gary